Yesterday, I submitted my resignation to the United St. Martin Party. It was a party that I was a part of in the last election. I was elected to represent you all. As you know, we were not able to form a government, but I did not let that deter me as a member of parliament. I decided, you know what, there is a lot of good that one can do from any side of the aisles, whether you're part of the coalition or opposition. My job and my mindset has always been and will always be represent my people first. I did that to the best of my ability in USP. And I've always tried to be a team player, even though internally there might have been some things that, you know, we had to kind of sort out. I would always bring my troubles or my disagreements or my visions, whatever it will be, in a closed door setting to the board and the leader and try to handle it. As you know, a snap election was called. We don't have to go much over the history. MP Myers pulled himself from the coalition. There was no coalition for a couple weeks. And then we were basically in a bit of a standstill as a country. And ultimately, we were able to form a new coalition with the USP, 2 members, 5 members of the NA, and then 2 members that went independent, which were MP Brownbill and MPs Mercelina. Of course, and unfortunately, I would say, a election was called by the Council of Ministers, and now we had to go into an election. Throughout that entire process, and you know, politically, you have to think of all the options. We knew that there is, of course, a possibility. The law allows for the Council of Ministers to call an election. So a lot of the talk was, okay, USP, what are we doing as an election? Where do we want to go? So this discussion didn't start yesterday, didn't start last week. This started months ago, where we knew the possibility for elections would be in place. And I think for those of you that know me and see how I perform, I don't like to just make choices without researching, looking at it, discussing, and so on. So I've been trying to have that discussion throughout with the board and the leadership. And it was going, but it was not going, I think, in the best way possible. But nonetheless, I stayed deterred. I was undeterred, and I said, let's continue to see how USP wants to put itself in a position in this election. One of the hot topics, of course, is who would they want to lead the party? One thing I learned, and politics is always a learning experience, is that while the party made a decision to put me number 1, being number 1 on a list does not necessarily mean you are a leader. It does not necessarily mean you are the person that can determine the future of your party, that can choose the direction that you want to go. How do you want the party to look? What do you want the party to stand for? What do you think the party should represent? You know, what type of candidates should we target? What message should we put out there? And while I was very proud and hopeful at the time that, hey, I was given the opportunity to lead the party and to move forward, I was immediately starting to meet with a bit of a disappointment that, unfortunately, me being number 1 did not give me sufficient opportunity to express my vision for what the party should be, what we should stand for. I don't have to go too much, I think, today into what I stand for. I will go a little bit into one of the things I put in my statement, which is core values and ethical responsibilities. I'm going to elaborate on that. Shout outs to Peggy Andros. I know she made a post yesterday, and it kind of went without saying, but it's good that she reiterated the fact. People want to know, okay, what are my core values and so on. But the point is, I want to say, first of all, that I respect USP's position and what they want to do. I am not here to chastise USP with any decision they want to make. But every human being, every political representative, at a certain point, we have to make a choice as to what we stand for. And that is the nature of politics. I've always said in this live stream, politics is continuously about, in political science, they talk about the left and the right, and the center or far right, far right. It's not to say that anyone is right or wrong, but at a certain point, you have to stick to what you believe is a direction a party should go. What should it represent? And to cut the long story short, I don't believe that USP, in a lot of the actions that they wanted to take, and I'm going to be very clear about something. Sometimes not taking action, or not flat out denying something, or not saying, no, we're not doing this, is also itself wrong. So, for example, let me use an extreme example. If I say we willing to kill to get votes, and I ask the party, is that a stance you want to take? And the party says, well, I don't know, we need to look into this still, we're still deciding. I'm like, no. That should be something that a party shouldn't even consider. You should take that off the books. So any discussion about, well, no decision was made yet or so on certain things, to me, the fact that the party was not able to deny immediately certain directions that they wanted to go and still say, well, maybe we considering things, etc., my position is that it was already, to me, a bit of a bad sign that some of the things I didn't want to see the party do was still going to continue. To me, it was not an easy decision to leave, especially because I know what a lot of people are going to think. Oh boy, here we go again. Is this ship jumping and so on? I'm not here to say whether you think I'm ship jumping or not. What I'm here to say is my decision to leave the USP was really essentially based on one thing. I want to go into an election with a certain level of autonomy to say this is what we represent. And the fact is, unfortunately, my visions for what we represent differ highly from where USP wants to go in this election. And this has particularly to do with the candidates that you want to involve, with the people that you want to involve in the party, and the things that we want to do and put out for the people. It was especially difficult because one of the things I embraced as being number one is going out there and finding new candidates, finding especially new people, fresh faces, or not necessarily people that didn't run before, but people that were looking for a new form of leadership that's inclusive, that really wants to change the face of politics. I am not going to say, guys, that I am the best politician ever or anything like that. I'm not the new face of politics. I think I'm one of the new faces. And as much as it's unpopular politics to look at other parties and say they're doing a good job, I think overall there are other parties that are also embracing the fact that, hey, it's time to embrace the future. Take a step back and let the new generation come forward and lead.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
It's that time of year again. The Phillipsburg Methodist Church proudly presents the Harmonics in Concert under the theme Praising in Harmony, the sequel. It all goes down on Saturday, November 2nd at the Princess Port de Plaisance Pavilion at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available at Big D's Photo Studio, Van Dorp, Family Bookstore, Adolphus Richardson Office Supplies, and the Phillipsburg Methodist Church office. Come out, enjoy, and be blessed by the Harmonics in Concert on Saturday, November 2nd. Proceeds of this concert will go towards the music ministry of the Phillipsburg Methodist Church. See you there!
Rent Tribunal. Following various complaints reaching the Ombudsman from citizens seeking a decision from the Rent Tribunal regarding housing disputes between tenant and landlord, allegedly as a result of Hurricane Irma, preliminary investigations by the Ombudsman indicated an increase of visitors to the Rent Tribunal post-Hurricane Irma. However, the office of the Rent Tribunal was understaffed and ill-equipped to handle the increase of visitors. With poor infrastructure and no vehicle available to engage site visits in order to objectively and effectively execute its task, the standard of proper conduct, fair play, among others, was seriously under threat with regard to proper handling of requests filed with the Rent Tribunal post-Hurricane Irma. As a result, a systemic investigation was initiated. The main question for consideration was, is the Rental Tribunal, as presently established, sufficiently and consistently able to effectively execute its task pursuant to the National Ordinance Rent? The Ombudsman concluded in this investigation that, devoid of adequate resources, the Rental Tribunal is not sufficiently and consistently able to effectively execute its task optimally pursuant to the National Ordinance Rent. A number of recommendations were issued, which included increasing the budget of the Rent Tribunal, as well as an amended organizational structure of the Rent Tribunal with realistic remunerations by national decree. During the presentation of the 2018 year report to the Prime Minister, it was said that a budget had been allocated for the Rent Tribunal. However, to date, no formal response or follow-up to the recommendations has been received. The recent updates regarding the Rent Tribunal have unfortunately not been positive. Due to the lack of a high-capacity photocopy machine, the Ombudsman Bureau has been facilitating the Rent Tribunal with this service since the beginning of the year. This week, it came to our attention that the Rent Tribunal will be closed until the end of October due to the lack of staff. The Secretary of the Tribunal is on medical leave, and apparently no provisions were made for replacement during his absence. The Chairman is presently on vacation until the 5th of November. PGIAE. The main questions for consideration in the systemic investigation of the Princess Juliana International Airport Operating Company were: is PGIAE's procurement management policy in accordance with the fundamental principles of public procurement and sufficiently transparent at the level of the functionally responsible government body of PGIAE? Are the evaluation criteria used in the tendering and selection of bidders accessible to interested third parties and the public in general? The Ombudsman concluded that whether PGIAE's procurement management policy is in accordance with the fundamental principles of public procurement remains inconclusive due to the limited cooperation received from government, the Minister of TIAT, in terms of the unsubstantive answers provided. The report further concluded that the procurement management policy is insufficiently transparent at the level of the functionally responsible government body for PGIAE. Government, the evaluation criteria used in the tendering and selection of bidders appear not to be accessible to interested third parties and the public in general. The standards of proper conduct not being observed in the process are, among others, active and inadequate information provision, reasons, and fair play. The recommendations issued were: government should improve the legal framework for public procurement by enacting legislation or establish standardized procurement guidelines that require civil or social control mechanisms to monitor the processes of public contracting. Government should develop a classification of arm's length bodies, which sets out the legal status of each type and how they are held accountable. Government should provide a copy of PJIA's procurement management policy to the Ombudsman for perusal. And government, as shareholder, should ensure that PJIA makes its procurement policy, management policy available to stakeholders. Although initiated in 2018, the report was concluded in the second quarter of 2019. A formal response from the Minister to the recommendations issued is still outstanding.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
As introduced, I'm the project lead here for MICIT, the regional partner with NEPA. The first discussion that I had with Mr. Martinez and his associate, Ms. Kiana Leibert, from then, they had a clear vision. They had clear objectives. They knew exactly what they wanted. And I was just happy to be part of the conversation. After that, I turned them over to NEPA because at the end of the day, they were looking at really forging a partnership that would take not just their brand, but the country forward. We need to understand that partnerships like this ensures that industry demands meet with the educational output of institutes like NEPA. So we're not just training persons to say that they have certification. We're training persons that the industry wants, that the industry is actually waiting on. And this is our quality assurance from NEPA. I'm proud to be part of this auspicious occasion. And this is, I would hope, the catalyst for more industry partners to come on board and do like projects. As Mr. Martinez said, it's part of their corporate social responsibility as an entity operating in St. Martin. And I want to applaud you for that, you and your organization. I think it only augurs well for the development of the country. All right, and as you said, all the initiatives outlined in your presentation, it only looks at ensuring quality from both the product and the educational aspect. So as I said before, I'm grateful to be part of this moment. And I know, as I said before, the trainees in the program will will really benefit tremendously from this sort of partnership. And I urge corporate St. Martin to follow suit.
On behalf of the NEPA, I would also like to say that, we speak a lot about training, we speak a lot about education. And I'm looking at Ms. Paul because she's intimately involved in students' care and in making sure that the students get work experience placements. But it doesn't end there. And this is something that we recognize as the NEPA, that it is of utmost importance that students, trainees, participants go from training, education to work experience or internships, but also that we speak directly and we secure employment for them. Employment for the students and for participants that graduate out of all of NEPA programs remains the top priority of the institution in close collaboration with the government of St. Martin, but cannot be done without the engagement of industry partners. And I do want to again recognize Argos St. Martin for taking up the call to assist us with training people in your product, a quality product, but also for engaging us to ensure that people have long-term employment, sustainable employment. To me, if we don't get employment for students, then the vision and the mission of this institution would have failed. It does not end with just education. It ends when the person is able to sustain employment. So I say that on behalf of the NEPA, but in its broader sense.
Forager is for anybody that needs assistance. Forager Center is our day treatment facility. We offer education, guidance, support, and empowerment to individuals and their families suffering from prolonged chronic mental illness. Amongst treatment, we provide our clients with cooking classes, arts and craft, computer classes, independent and life skills such as budgeting.
What has your experience been like here?
It has been very positive. It showed me how to deal with the stress itself, because that was my biggest problem. There is always help. There's the mental facility, you can look at them, but not to be shy or think about it that people might say anything, because we all might be through it one day or another, and we all need help. So you don't have to feel ashamed or feel bad.
So always seek help.
Yes, always seek help.
At Forager, we try to help our clients back into the community by improving their skills and confidence so they could live an independent and fulfilling life.
Nobody can fool us as anti-poverty platform. When they were talking about the anti-poverty platform, when they were talking about the liquidity support, it was not for meat in the budget. It was not for the homes of the people to be repaired. So we are of the opinion that if really they want to increase the social allowances for people not to be in poverty, they have to apply equality throughout the kingdom. And that is not only for our local politicians, this is also for Mr. Knops that came to Parliament and that came to say that they want to be there to help the people. So with that said, we can say that the campaign started. Everybody that comes with any gimmick, let them understand that you can fool some people sometime, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. When we talk about eradication of poverty, let them put their money where the mouth is. And so, walk the talk. Until now, we have only seen our co-coordinator walking with us, addressing these issues with us. Yes, he was on the list of the St. Martin Christian Party the last time. Yes, he managed that the eradication of poverty was signed by this party as a condition for him to be on the list. Yes, it became a part of the governing program because as an underdog in the negotiations, the St. Martin Christian Party couldn't get the whole of the eradication of poverty in it because the United Democrats didn't want it. And so if Mr. Frankie Myers, even though that he is now independent, but he and his way of thinking for years was with the Democratic Party, then with the United Party, and now with the UD. So now that he is independent, he must come differently. And that is not only for Mr. Myers. It is for all of the politicians. If suddenly today they want to eradicate the poverty, we say better late than never. But then volunteer first with the anti-poverty platform for the people to see that you are really with the people and not only because you want to win an election.